everyone. Welcome to Jackalopes of Fire, JoF TV. I'm Cilla, and with me is Chuck. Hi, Chuck.
What's up?
How are you today?
Tired.
You are tired.
I'm a little tired.
You were up all night.
Yes.
Knowing we were recording today.
Yeah, your brother's a dumbass.
Yes.
What do you want from me?
I'm not going to argue that point.
Yeah, you know what, though? John got a PS4, and with the PS4, he got Assassin's Creed 4. And you know that I love the Arkham games and the Assassin's Creed games. So I've been, every chance I get, playing the game. When he went to sleep last night, I started playing. Next thing I knew, it was 6 o'clock.
Next thing you knew.
There was no reason to go to bed at that point. I did take a little cat nap, though, so I'm good.
Ready.
I'm ready.
Ready. So, we pretty much have just one thing to talk about today.
Okay.
And that is the Hobby Lobby Supreme Court decision. We normally don't get too much into the political type stuff, but this one seems hard to get away from.
It's a little weird. The I don't know, the frothing at the mouth idiots that have been coming out of the woodwork on both sides of the issue.
Okay.
You know, just oh my god.
For those of you that live under a rock and don't know anything about this case, the issue is under Obamacare, and correct me if I get any of these facts wrong.
Okay.
Under Obamacare, they're mandating that birth control be covered with insurance.
Right.
The employers cover that. Hobby Lobby is saying, well, hold on now. There's a list of, I want to say it's like 20 different...
21, I
21,
think, specifically.
Different methods of birth control and that are listed. And of those 20 or 21, there's like 4 that Hobby Lobby is like, hold on, wait a second. We don't consider those birth control. We consider those more
forms of abortion.
Forms of abortion.
Right. Like the morning after pill and things like that.
Right. And they're like, so, you know, we're Christians here. We don't believe in abortion. We'll cover the birth control, but we don't want to cover these 4 things. So the whole thing ended up going up to the Supreme Court. And leading up to the decision was controversial in and of itself. You had people on both sides.
Sure. Because the biggest thing that I was seeing is Hobby Lobby as a corporation. Do they have a right as a corporation, not as an individual, but as a corporation, to say, I don't want to follow this law? And that's where the waters got a bit murky. Right.
Which is where the Supreme Court came in. And it was a very close decision.
Yeah.
It was 5-4.
And their ruling was very tight. It was, they made sure that their ruling applied to a very specific situation and couldn't be used to, or couldn't be abused later down the road.
Right. It was a very narrow ruling.
Yeah.
They did rule in favor of Hobby Lobby, which has caused a lot of outrage. I actually have a friend who couldn't handle the outrage, discussion, whatever, what have you, so much that she deleted her Facebook account over the whole thing.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. That's a bit weird. Everybody, each to their own. Everybody's going to react their own way. I'm surprised that somebody would be that upset.
I was a little surprised too, and that was a strong reaction. But some of the strong reactions to this have surprised me. Mm-hmm. And so there's 2 sides to the argument. There's the side that freedom of religion, and that argument. The other side of the argument is women's rights. Mm-hmm. It's a woman's choice to use whatever birth control she wants to use.
Absolutely. And the nice thing about this is Hobby Lobby's not saying you can't use that birth control. Exactly. They're saying we don't want to pay for it.
Exactly. And that's where I end up agreeing with the Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. And I have, as a woman, have been attacked so much for saying that. Because, first of all, I'm not a Christian, so people are surprised that I take that stance.
Right.
But it's what I've said from the get-go, whether I'm talking about gay rights or freedom of religion or racism or whatever I'm talking about, equal is equal. And Christian or not, I do believe in freedom of religion. And I do think that that's what applies here. I think Hobby Lobby is actually being very reasonable about the whole thing, because they're not saying we're not going to cover any birth control. There's these 4 we don't want to cover because we don't...
See, and I've been kind of going back and forth on this, and where I have landed is, while I understand where the Supreme Court's coming from and why they made the decision they did, I personally don't actually agree with it. And here's why. Hobby Lobby is a corporation. It is a nationwide company with thousands upon thousands of employees. They should not be allowed to say, just because their principal owners happen to have those Christian values, that the company has those Christian values. The company is not a person. It is not. It is therefore as an individual, and that's where it's weird, because at some point down the road, back in the recent past, they decided that a corporation, and in this case it's a closely held corporation, and I get that, but they decided that a corporation can be an individual. That's bullshit. I'm an individual, you're an individual. You and I have religious freedom and freedom of speech and all that stuff. The freedoms that are assigned to individuals should not be assigned in the same manner to companies.
So if you're a business owner, your religious principles don't apply to your business?
My religious principles can guide my actions and my decisions, but when my religious principles get in the way of the law as written, then it becomes a very gray area. And my company cannot be considered an individual. That's where I'm coming down on. As long as you say that those rights are assigned to individuals specifically, then you can't call a company a person.
I don't think that being a business owner should mandate that you go against your own beliefs in that way.
What you do in the privacy of your home is still your right.
But
you can't infringe upon other people's rights.
But they're not infringing on anybody's rights. They're not saying that a woman that works here can't use these forms of birth control. They are not saying that they're not saying that at all. They're saying if you want it, you have to go purchase it out of your own pocket.
The way they're infringing upon someone else's rights of religious freedom is, while you are free to practice any religion you choose, you're also free not to have that religion thrust upon you. Just because you're an employee of Hobby Lobby doesn't mean you have to be a Christian.
And you're absolutely free to go work at a different place if you don't agree with their principles. Don't work at a Christian-based business.
But this has not been an issue until this particular law. That's the thing.
And anyone that disagrees can go get another job.
In this day and age, that's not an easy thing to do.
But we're not talking about high-powered jobs here. We're talking about cashiers.
Okay, but what I'm saying is that the religious beliefs of the company was given precedence over the rights of the individuals to not have those religious beliefs guide their choices in life. That's my problem with it.
I honestly do see both sides. Mm-hmm. I land on the side of Hobby Lobby, though, because if they were saying no birth control, we don't want to cover it, period, I would have an issue with that. Mm-hmm. Because birth control isn't just birth control. I'm a good example. I need it for other medical reasons. Mm-hmm. There are other reasons to take birth control pills. Right. None of those fall under what Hobby Lobby doesn't want to cover.
Right, and I understand that. I realize that the specific ones that Hobby Lobby is against are the ones that are can be viewed as actual methods of abortion, not prevention.
Before anybody starts emailing me freaking out, I know the science behind them. I know they're not actually abortion pills. I understand the science behind it. That's not the point here.
Right.
The point is how they feel about it. Now, whether they're educated about it or why they feel the way they do, I find to be irrelevant. It's what they believe.
Right.
You have people, I want to say it's Jehovah's Witness, but I could be wrong, that don't believe in celebrating holidays at all. They don't celebrate birthdays. I find that to be completely dumb and retarded, but it's what they believe. I don't think that they're necessarily right. Hobby Lobby, the people behind it, are right in their views, the way they're viewing these methods of birth control. I think scientifically they're wrong, but they're entitled to their views, and I don't think
absolutely.
that their views go out the window just because they decided to own a business.
Their views don't, but their views cannot be translated into the business's views. That's my issue. That's entirely where I land. It's the concept that because I own a business, automatically my views are my business's views. That's not necessarily the case, and should not be the case. The business is not an individual. It is not a person. It is a business. Therefore it has to follow the laws of a business, not a person.
To be fair, this was a ridiculous law in the first place.
The law has its merits. It's not a completely ridiculous law. The law is making it to where people are responsible for getting insurance. That's the whole point of it. It's making it to where companies have to provide insurance, have to meet a certain level of coverage, and everybody that's employed has to have some kind of insurance, because it takes the burden off of the medical professionals who are having to overcharge people like you and me who've always had insurance or whatever, and because they're having to pay for the people who don't have insurance. In the long run, it's going to bring our medical costs down. It's a good idea. It was implemented poorly.
It's been implemented very poorly, and if the basis of it was just what you explained, well, I still have an issue with it. But in practice, it's been a complete disaster.
Right.
And there are so many aspects of it, little aspects thrown in here and there, that when you put them together is a big disaster.
Yeah.
This whole thing has been a disaster. And
yeah, absolutely. The implementation's been a nightmare, but the original concept was good.
I still disagree with the concept of forcing people to have health insurance anyway.
The other option is to tell people that if you don't have insurance, you cannot get medical attention. That's your two options. It's either force people to, make it a law to have insurance. As long as you're employed, you have to pay for your insurance, and then make it possible for people who can't afford insurance through their company or don't have a job or whatever, they can get insured in other ways. Or say somebody that doesn't have insurance cannot get medical assistance whatsoever. You got to do one or the other, because letting people who don't have insurance get medical assistance is putting a burden on the medical professionals, who have to pass that burden on to people like you and me, who have to take care of it either through taxes or through increased medical bills. Because my one medical bill is actually paying for me and the guy next to me, essentially.
I think there are other solutions. I couldn't give you any off the top of my head because I haven't put that much thought into it.
The other solution is euthanasia. I don't know what it is about the kids over there, but apparently the kids in Asia, they're the answer to everything. Euthanasia. Euthanasia. I told you I was up all night. They don't all have to be funny. Anyway. But anyway, and it's one of those things, it is such a murky issue.
It's a very murky issue. I think, and here's what I honestly think. I think everybody, regardless of what side you're on, because, quite frankly, I don't care what side you're on. I don't think it's going to matter in the long run. Because I think this Obamacare mandate, all of it, the whole thing has been such a disaster and upset so many people that regardless of whether we get a Democrat or a Republican as our next president, they're going to repeal most of it.
Yeah, it's going to go away. And as far as on the Hobby Lobby side, we were talking about the backlash earlier. I love the people that are coming out of the woodwork saying, "I'm never shopping here ever, ever, ever." Yeah, but you probably don't shop there now. I mean, let's face it. You probably haven't stepped foot in a Hobby Lobby in the last 5 years.
And I have this to say about that. Okay. There has never been any secret the Hobby Lobby is a Christian-based business. They're closed on Sundays, then they make it very clear it's to support their religious beliefs.
Right.
It's always been well known that this company is owned by Christians.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, because they're fighting for their views, whether you agree or not, because they're fighting for their views in Juan, now you're not going to shop there? Really?
Well, like I said, they probably weren't shopping there to begin with. And, I mean, when's the last time you went to a Hobby Lobby?
I couldn't tell you exactly. I go there once in a while, but I'm a preschool teacher. I need supplies every now and then.
That's fair enough. I haven't been inside a Hobby Lobby in at least 2 years, if not longer.
If you're a teacher or a crafty person, you go into Hobby Lobby from time to time.
Yeah.
At least. But if you are one of their shoppers and you have decided you're going to go to Michael's or the local craft shop instead, then you're dumb because this has never been a secret.
And let's face it, you're not hurting their business any.
No.
It's like, off topic for a second, it's kind of like the people that call into the cable company and go, if you don't fix this, this problem, I'm canceling service. Okay, I can't fix the problem. Have a nice day. Go to another company. I don't fucking care. Tell me that you're canceling your cable. See how much I care. I could give a damn. It doesn't affect me one way or the other. Because I'm not gonna lose money because you're not with Time Warner anymore. I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. The fact of the matter is, if this whatever issue is so terrible that it makes you want to cancel your cable, cancel your cable. It's a luxury. It's not a necessity. Get over yourself. Sorry.
And that was Chuck's soapbox.
My point is
you've had some angry customers lately, haven't you?
but my point is that telling someone that you're not going to give them your business anymore, they don't care.
No.
It doesn't matter whether it's the cable company,
the
phone company, or Hobby Lobby.
But it does make the person doing the boycott feel better. I can attest to this because I did that DC comic boycott, which I know Didio didn't give two shits about.
And KFC. You did that one too, all those years ago.
I did. I don't even remember why I boycotted KFC.
PETA.
Oh.
Because PETA told you to. Then you realized how shitty PETA is, and you went, never mind.
I was going through my really stupid animal rights phase.
That's right.
Not that I'm saying animals don't have rights. I was a little overboard with it. But anyway, I know Didio didn't care when I was boycotting DC Comics, and he doesn't care that I'm now buying them again because Stephanie Brown is back. But it made me feel better. And so, if they feel better by saying they're boycotting Hobby Lobby, if that helps them get through this, then...
Yeah, and that's the thing. If it makes you feel better, great. My thing is, putting all of that aside, I don't need to know what you're boycotting. I could give a damn. I'm not Hobby Lobby. Why are you telling me? Why do I get all these Facebook posts of Fuck Hobby Lobby. I'm never shopping there again. Blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit. If you want to boycott them, fucking boycott
Because
them.
they're encouraging other people to do the same.
Well, whatever, you know?
That's the principle behind it.
I'm sure that's the concept, but it doesn't work.
How vocal was I about my DC boycott? I mean...
Yeah, I know.
I can't really say much about that aspect of it.
To answer that question, how vocal you were is you would never shut the fuck up about it.
Exactly. That's kind of my point.
Yeah, you know, like I said, it is a controversial issue.
Spit it out.
It's going to be a I don't know.
I think it's going to be meaningless in the long run.
Yeah,
because Obamacare is going to go away. None of this is going to matter. We're going to look back on this in 5 years. It's going to be on one of those, you know how they do those I love the 80s, I love the 90s. This is going to be one of those big things on one of those specials like 10 or 20 years from now, where we're going to go, oh yeah, I remember that case. That was really dumb.
It's kind of like the OJ thing. Now, speaking of insurance, just as a small aside, I will say this. I haven't always been covered by insurance because I am a veteran. I served my time in the Air Force. I'm a veteran. Mm-hmm. I go through the VA.
Right.
And they cover me pretty much for everything. Until last year. My issue with my gallbladder. Mm-hmm. So, for those of y'all that don't know, so I got really, really bad pains and everything, got really sick. Turned out I had a bad gallbladder. They had to take it out. I was in the hospital for like 3 weeks, just racking up bills. Everything that I had been told by the VA was, oh yeah, no, we'll take care of that. You just gotta, have them send us the information and we'll cover it. Well, when the hospital submitted to the VA to cover it, the VA submitted back, hey, we need, this paperwork. The hospital dragged their ass, didn't get them the paperwork, and the VA said, nope, we're not going to cover it. You didn't get us paperwork, we're not covering it. Have a nice day. No option to fight the decision, nothing. So now I'm like $60,000 in debt to a hospital. Seton, y'all aren't getting that money. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that. My credit's shot already. What are you going to do? And so that having happened, the lesson I learned was I'm getting fucking insurance. As soon as I had the option with the last job, I went ahead and signed up for it. Of course, that never kicked in. Because a month after I signed up for it, I left the company quickly.
That's another story.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. But through my current position, I do have insurance now, so that I can get, should something happen, I have coverage now.
Right.
And I feel so much better about it. I may not ever get sick again, but I know that I have coverage if I do.
Right.
That just, wow. So, that being said, I can't imagine the nightmare that some people who have no coverage, not VA, not insurance, whatever, I can't imagine what they might go through. So I don't understand why they wouldn't have insurance, why they wouldn't make every effort to get insurance. Work your bills out to where you can afford insurance. Give up cable. You don't need cable television. You don't need high-speed internet. You need a phone. Okay? You need a roof over your head. You need electricity. And food. And gas. And a vehicle. That's it. As far as regular bills, that's all you need. You don't absolutely need these entertainment bills. And that's what pisses me off about the people who say, oh, I can't afford insurance. Yes, you can. Cut your fucking cable off. Now you can afford insurance. And have money to spare. People get so insane about their cable bills, and I'm like, turn it off.
You understand this is America we're talking about, where there are so many people that think that the government owes them something that they don't even want to work.
Right. That self-entitled attitude.
I'd rather stand in line and get a check every month for doing nothing.
Yeah. I saw a great post on Facebook the other day. about the people who stand on the corners with the sign saying "We'll work for food" or homeless, please help. Why don't they get a job holding signs? So it was a picture of a guy holding a sign, "We'll work for food," and somebody had photoshopped that out. They did side by side. They photoshopped that out and put a Quiznos sign against him. I think that's a great idea.
That's genius.
Every one of those motherfuckers standing on the corner begging for money, drive by, say, "I'm going to pay you this much money to stand here all day. But instead of asking for money from strangers, you're going to hold this sign." That's all you have to do.
They wouldn't do it because they make more money begging.
Exactly.
Some people just don't want to work. They'd rather have life handed to them.
An honest wage, what's that?
Right.
So anyway, we got a little off topic, but...
Sort of. But it all relates back. Yeah. It all comes back to the same thing.
I tell you what, I'm never going to shop at Hobby Lobby again. See how ridiculous it sounds?
Well, I can honestly say this. If I am in need of something that Hobby Lobby provides, I will go in and buy it.
Right. If that's the only place or cheapest place that I can get it, by God, that's where I'm going to get it. The chances of me ever needing something from Hobby Lobby, pretty slim.
They have some great art supplies. I may very well need something for
that's right,
because
I'm fucking Picasso over here.
No, but I have
Actually,
toddlers.
I draw kind of like Picasso. He's not a very good artist. I don't know what it is about Picasso. He wasn't that good.
My toddlers could do better.
Yeah. Should we ask the Peanut Gallery what they think?
Absolutely.
Peanut Gallery, what do you think?
Oh, me?
Yes, you're the Peanut Gallery.
What's the question?
Ah, fuck.
All I heard was something about Picasso.
What do you think about the Supreme Court's ruling on the Hobby Lobby issue?
I don't know which side they found in favor of.
Hobby Lobby.
They found in favor of Hobby Lobby.
Good.
They did it in a very...
Thank you.
Hang on. It was a very narrow decision. Basically, they said that since Hobby Lobby is a closely held corporation, they can reserve the rights of the individual for freedom of religion. And yes, they have the right to not supply those for birth controls. I mean, it was a very, very specific ruling. It was not a vague ruling at all. But yes, they did rule in favor. However, it was a split decision. It was 5-4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's my thing. Considering birth control is an optional thing, kind of like plastic surgery.
It depends on the birth control you're talking about. Some women have to take it for other health reasons,
but not those 4.
You're right, not those 4.
Not those 4. Those 4 specifically just because I want to be a whore.
Okay.
And realistically, that, in my opinion, is the same thing as your insurance company doesn't have to pay for you to have a breast implant. Companies should not have to be forced to pay for you to have optional surgeries. Something that is optional medical-wise, meaning you do not need it, you want to do it for your personal reasons, companies should not be forced to pay for that.
See, his argument makes sense. It has nothing to do with religion. It's optional. It is an elective that you don't, kind of like elective surgery,
right,
that you don't have to have. Companies shouldn't be forced to pay that. I can see your point there, and I can accept that. If that were the point, I could accept that. That's not the point, but I could accept that.
Now, I did hear y'all's little freedom of religion argument as I was walking outside, and that the Hobby Lobby is forcing their religion on their employees.
Technically.
Not really.
Technically.
No, not really. Is Hobby Lobby saying, in order for you to work here, you have to be a Baptist?
No.
Exactly.
What they're saying...
No, they are not.
Therefore,
they are not forcing a religion upon them. They're merely saying that my religious views disagree with your religious views, and because I own this corporation, I'm choosing not to allow you to have these 4 birth controls.
Now, what they're saying is that my religious views outrank your religious views.
And as the owner of the corporation, I can agree with that.
But that's the thing. That gets
to
my point.
But we're not talking about separation of church and state here.
No, I know. Well, what I'm getting at is that the individual freedom of religion and freedom from religion and what have you should not apply to a company. If it applies to the owner of the company, that's fine. But that just because his views are what they are, they should not automatically extend to the company. The company should be free from any religious implications.
That will never happen.
You're right.
In any company,
But
in
it should.
any corporation, in any world.
But it should. Ideally, it should.
Because, let's face it, we could find people in the outer rim of Alpha Centauri that have their own religion that we end up working for, and their religion relies that you have to hop on your fucking left leg. You know?
My point is that as long as the argument is about religion, then I have to disagree with the decision. But your argument is
the situation because realistically, yes, if you do it from a solely religious point of view, Hobby Lobby has no right to force religion on you.
Right.
I don't see it as forcing religion on you because
That's
they're not
fine.
telling you you have to be Baptist, you have to be Catholic, which is forcing religion on you.
We're disagreeing on what that constitutes as forcing religion on you. But if they had made the argument that you made about it being elective and we don't want to have to pay for something that's elective, then it would make much more sense. That's the argument that should have been presented and probably wouldn't have caused a split decision, in my opinion.
Well, that's just because they didn't have intelligent enough lawyers.
Yeah, what they didn't do is call you.
Right. If Hobby Lobby would just call me before they made any of their decisions like that, I could tell them how to do it so they wouldn't cause conflict.
Well, there you go.
So to sum up, you agree that Hobby Lobby should not have to be providing those 4 elective birth controls, but not because of religious views, just because they are elective.
Yes.
All right. There you go. That's what the Peanut Gallery has to say.
Okay.
You're the Peanut Gallery, by the way. Wah, 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 wah.
And on that note, I think we need to go ahead and wrap this up.
Right on.
Share your views with us, too.
Share them with her. I don't care. No, I'm kidding.
Everyone seems to have an opinion on this, so we want to
Yep.
hear yours. Feel free to drop us a line on our Facebook, or you can hit us up on Twitter, jackalopesafari.com, or YouTube. We're all over the place.
Yeah, we're like a virus.
So we're just invading the internet one side at a time. So thank you for joining us on JoF TV, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.